vetoes on. That's so dumb. It's.
Did it pass the House?
Well, no. You could argue about it about like for the checks or whatever you want, but it's like, dude, it's so dumb that they try to lump fucking extra funding into these other things.
Well, and that's what happens. Is they throw bullshit pork into it, and that's why it gets thrown out.
Yeah, like when the Democrats on the first one were trying to throw like Planned Parenthood funding into it. It's like, what does that have to do with it? It has
nothing to do with it. Right. You try to backdoor bullshit in, and these are the bad. Like, because it's a strategy, right?
Yeah, it is.
They know it's not going to pass. They say, hey, let's throw some bullshit for Planned Parenthood in here, or whatever, right? Whatever, environmental protection, you name it. Let's throw that in here. And then when they reject it because they're like, no, we don't want to fund all this extra shit, they may even say, hey, we support sending people checks. We support bailing out the small businesses. But, hey, we don't want to send people these checks, or we don't want to fund Planned Parenthood as part of this. This has nothing to do with it. It's unnecessary. They can point to them in November and say, well, look who didn't get you those second round of checks. That's why they do it.
It did pass through the House. Yeah, it did pass through the House. So
and the Senate's going to kill it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna or not. I know that the House passed it.
Yeah.
So
we should address the elephant in the room real quick. Vermin Supreme is not with us.
Yeah, he's not.
As we originally advertised. That's part of working with third parties. Sometimes they're not always. Hopefully, he's just blowing us off, and it's not like an emergency.
Yeah. So. It's just how scheduling happens. I mean, shit, I've had it plenty of times happen where I've not been able to make a podcast because something came up. So
nature of the beast, right? It happens.
Yeah, it happens, especially when you can't do it in person. I feel like people are like more likely to blow off doing over the internet podcasts or meetings than they are actual in-person meetings. Does that?
Yeah,
you feel that too?
You don't. Well, I think the same reason people are more likely to talk shit on the internet because you don't have to deal with the fucking real life consequences. You know what I mean? And I'm not bashing him or anything. Like I said, hopefully he's just blowing us off and it's not anything serious.
Yeah, maybe something else came up. I mean, the dude's busy. Maybe he was somebody
he's running
else.
For president. Goddamn it.
Yeah, dude.
But no, yeah, like I said, hopefully he's it's not anything bad. So that's all I will say. I'm not going to bash anybody. I don't want to get that reputation.
Yeah.
So not for
unless
that.
It's fucking John Lennon burning in hell.
John Lennon. And John McCain right next to him.
John Lennon and John McCain are fighting over their spot in the burning lava in hell. I made a joke like that earlier to my wife and my mother-in-law. It was just like, why had John McCain? Like they didn't even, my
John McCain or John Lennon?
John McCain. They're like, they didn't even know he died. I'm like, yeah, he died. He's burning in hell.
Really? They didn't know he died? That was like years ago.
I know. It's amazing how like little importance stuff like that is when you like don't give a shit about politics.
That's true. That's true. I remember. No, I'm not going to say that on the air. That'll get me put on even more watch lists. I bought a gun the other day and I passed that background check, so I'm not trying to try my luck here. I'm waiting for the day that I get flagged as an extremist and they won't let me buy a gun.
Mm-hmm. I'm just going to have to buy them illegally, you know.
That's exactly. I'm going to have to dish out more money. I can't get my cashback reward points for it.
Dude, I read a thing the other day that people were using like back in the day when you could buy the dollar coins, a bunch of people were buying them with credit cards and then using the money to pay off the credit cards that they bought the coins with, and then they would just use the credit cards like frequent flyer miles and stuff.
That's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, dude. Like one guy got like $150,000 worth of like frequent flyer miles off of it.
That's brilliant. I would have. I don't know. Why didn't I think of that?
That's pretty cool, huh?
Well, that's like, I did something kind of like that. Bank of America took a really strong anti-gun stance, right? A while back, like I think it was after the Parkland shooting.
Do you have credit cards through Bank of America or?
No. So what happened here? Check this.
Yeah.
So I bought, I had money saved up. I was going to buy a gun, right? I was going to buy it anyway. So Bank of America had a $250 intro reward program going on. So you had a card with no interest for 12 months, and you had and it also had no like annual fee. So I took the card, I applied for it, got approved. It was after you spent $1,000, you got this $250 intro bonus, right? So I put the gun on the card and then just paid it off real quick. And then I put like my insurance and my gas and just normal shit I would have paid for anyway on the card. So after they came out hard anti-gun, they basically paid me $250 to buy a gun I was going to buy anyway.
Nice. So that's how you stick it to them, dude.
They paid for it. Yeah, exactly. I don't sit there and fucking bitch online and leave nasty reviews. No, you're willing to give me your money, I'll fucking be happy to take it from you.
Dude, speaking of guns, and because I think more facts have come out about it, and I kind of want to talk about it.
Oh, sure.
This whole shit going on in Florida, man.
Is this Breonna Taylor? The Kenneth Walker's the guy's name?
Oh, I thought his name was like Ahmaud.
We're talking. That's in Georgia.
Yeah.
I was talking about the person that got shot. The EMT.
There was an EMT that got shot too.
So she was. They kicked in their house door, her and her boyfriend.
Oh, yeah, this was the black woman, the black EMT that got killed by.
Yeah, they kicked it in thinking it was the house next door, which they were doing like a drug raid on it. And I mean, they shot her like 20 times through the window, and the boyfriend exchanged fire because he thought they were just being
gangbangers or something. Yeah,
like they thought someone was breaking into their house. Sorry, if you
somebody was breaking into their house illegally.
If you kick my door in the middle of the night and then shoot my girlfriend, I'm going to shoot back. I feel that's pretty reasonable. Now they're charging him with attempted murder.
Of course they are.
Yeah.
That's the fucking police, man. They're the legal mafia.
Oh, my God.
That's the whole thing with that Ahmaud Arbery case. The whole reason that the two dudes didn't get charged right away is because the dad was a former cop.
Yeah, exactly.
And he had ties with like the dude that was calling the shots for charging him. He was like friends with him or something. So it's like,
yeah. I mean, my whole take on that is like, look, I don't know if he was casing the house out or what was going on.
They came out with the whole thing, right? Because now all the facts have come out about it, right? This dude was just straight up going on a run in the neighborhood, which he did like a lot. Like he was just going on a jog, and you watch the video. The dude is literally jogging. Like, he's not running fast. They're coming up behind him, and he's just jogging.
Right.
There was a like a house being constructed that there was some security footage of a guy being in the
there was a lot of people that went in and out of there.
Yeah, and for one, I mean, I'll say this, when I was a kid, I used to go fuck around in construction sites all the time. And the video of the guy that they think is him, he's just like walking around and hanging out in there. So maybe he just thought it was a cool, you know what I mean? Like, and two, they don't even know if it's him too. Like it could just be
even if he was casing that house out to rip the copper out of the wall and sell it, that doesn't mean you can kill him.
Yeah,
that's what I was getting at.
Yeah, exactly. Because apparently, according to Georgia law, the only way that you can make a citizen's arrest is for a felony, right?
Right.
Breaking, like stealing anything from a construction site is only considered a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
So they weren't legally allowed to do what they did. And I mean, like they claim that so the video shows them like the guy like attacking them, and I'm like, dude, the guys are pulling fucking guns.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's fight or flight at that point.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Like he's just a fucking guy, like a man. He's like trying to defend himself when guys pulling guns in from him. Like the guy probably knows he's gonna die. He's like,
right.
So if you're like a black dude running through a neighborhood and some fucking old ass fat boomer comes up there with a shotgun with his face. Looking son with a gun going like, come here, boy. I gotta ask some questions about you.
It wasn't just those two. It was like an angry mob.
No, there was three guys. There was one extra guy, but they don't know who the third extra guy was.
So what I thought was the film got released because that guy's lawyer, the guy who took it, he was part of the group coming after the kid. And his lawyer told him to release it to exonerate himself.
I don't know about that. I just know that the people like investigating know that there was three people chasing after the dude.
Okay.
It was the guy, his son, and some other dude.
Yeah.
And they are like calling like the George. So Yeah, I think it was racially motivated. I honestly think it was just some fucking boomer, some southern boomer, getting pissed off that a black dude was running through their neighborhood
100%.
because,
yeah.
And he was like, "Oh well, come here, boy, let me come get you." Like big surprise there, right? A racist boomer.
Because here's my thing, like, yeah, he was fighting, but like, let's say I'm walking, because I walk my dog all the time, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say I'm walking my dog, and you pull up to me in a truck, if I, like right up next to me. If I see you go for a gun, I'm gonna put 6 rounds in your fucking chest.
They chased him for like 5 minutes too. The guy didn't. They were like, "Oh, the guy's probably armed." It's like the dude wasn't armed. He was just going for a jog through a neighborhood.
That's my thing. I can't outrun a truck. I'm just gonna. Exactly. One of us is gonna die. That's what it comes down to. Like, you leave someone with no other option. Of course, they're gonna fight. They can't outrun a truck.
Honestly, I think hopefully they get charged with premeditated and go to jail for a long time, because they straight up saw the dude running, went back into the house, got the guns, chased after him for like 4 or 5 minutes, got out like, "Hey boy, come here," and then shot him because he was trying to defend himself, like what anybody else would probably do. Like, you know what I mean?
Kind of reminds me of the dumpster defender.
Almost, but like
that one was more justified though.
The dumpster defender too, like all those guys were fucking trash. Like that Ahmaud Arbery guy was just some fucking dude running. Yeah. Like he was just some regular guy.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So what I read was that the Georgia, like the state Georgia, like criminal investigator people are like calling in for like federal investigators to investigate that guy that like basically held off tried to not get charges brought to him, because the video happened 2 months ago.
Oh, the cop or whatever.
Yeah, There was the guy that he like had the investigator guy that was friends with the guy that shot the Ahmaud Arbery. Basically, was like caught on record like trying to tell like prosecutors to not charge him. Mm-hmm. And it's because he was friends with them. There's like photos of them being like professionally friends with each other, and they used to work together because that guy was a former investigator and a former police officer. Yeah. So it's like, man, fucking cops protecting other cops, man.
It's the thin blue line. It really is just a gang mentality if you think about it. It really is, yeah. I mean, seriously, that's literally all it is. Like the Bloods and Crips won't snitch on each other, or they get blackballed. Cops aren't going to snitch on each other, or they're never going to get promoted. They know that's how it works.
Did you hear about that one whistleblower in Maine? The state trooper. There's a whistleblower up in Maine that he came out and whistleblowed against the state of Maine for illegally surveilling people that were like trying to buy guns.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, they were illegally keeping records of people that were applying for like background checks to like buy guns, and like keeping registries of people that own guns and stuff. Like
that's happened a few times. What happened to him?
I don't know. I just saw that there was a whistleblower.
I did hear about that, and he got in trouble. They fired him. That's what it was. That's
big surprise, huh?
Yeah, a cop gets caught on video just choking a 55-year-old woman until she's unconscious. Hey, it's internal investigation, 2-week suspension with pay. Hey, these guys are illegally surveilling American citizens, violating like 3 different constitutional amendments. Fired. Get the fuck out of my office. Like that's man. The corruption in police departments, and of course, it's not all of them. We had a super cool cop on our show, and there's plenty of cops
That's like a street cop, though. He was like a street officer, and now he runs basically like it's not really a union, but it's kind of like
association,
like
right?
Yeah, it's a police officer association. He's like the president of it, so it's like the most he does is like that he has say in like things that actually matter is like they organize like police benefits, and then they organize. Yeah, the PR stuff. They go into neighborhoods and go put up basketball hoops for kids in the ghetto. You know what I mean?
And that's my thing is 95% of interactions with police officers, regardless of your race, I'm not saying they're positive, but they're not negative. It's kind of, okay, you were driving with a busted taillight, just fix it. They don't usually end in people getting killed or beaten or illegally searched. But it's those 5% that happen. It is a problem. It happens way too much.
I think you have to go into these kind of things with the mentality that like the thing that happened in Georgia isn't normal.
No.
That's not the norm.
No.
And because it's not the norm, you can treat it with like as such. Like you can treat it like, dude, that was fucked up.
Yeah.
Like I shouldn't be people like LeBron out there saying like we are getting hunted every day. It's like, bro, no, like
no, you're not.
For when you live in California, dude, like
LeBron is not being hunted.
Exactly.
I promise you.
You say we, but I mean like Georgia is basically another country compared to like Ohio and California. Yeah, dude, and it's like it's not the norm. It's not the norm.
If LeBron James saw any one of the 3 guys involved in that shooting on either side, he would have fucking stepped over them and scoffed. You know, anywhere outside of right there. LeBron James doesn't give a fuck about you.
It's just another case, man, of like some boomers in the South fucking doing what they want and then getting away with it because they're friends with other boomers that are in positions of power. Like,
I hate boomers.
Yeah, dude. And literally, they're all fucking, all the dudes involved, all boomers, dude.
All but the good old boy system.
Yeah, the good old boy system, man.
We're on episode 74, by the way. I just noticed that I didn't change that.
That's all right. For the audio listeners only, we do have a board behind on the wall that says what episode number it is, but you know what? That's fine.
That's fine. We're just gonna stay on 73 for an episode.
Yeah, right.
That's okay. That's totally cool with me.
I kept looking at it going like, man, something doesn't seem right about
Right. Dude, we're almost at episode 100. Can you believe it?
That's crazy,
Fuck,
dude.
we pulled it off.
Have you had any more of like your buddies and stuff messaging you going like, man, you've been doing the podcast? And we can be like, yeah, dude, I've been doing it for over a year now.
Yeah. No, it's like, because here's my thing, and I love all you guys. Like, I have people all the time that are like, hey, I need to come on the podcast. You need to let me on the pod. Like, I love talking to everybody, but we want to have people that are like, have got something going on creatively, you know what I mean? Or something like that we can talk about with them. Because otherwise.
Or somebody that doesn't just have an idea on like one thing.
Right. Yeah.
I encourage like everybody out there that's listening that wants to do that. Leave comments on like our YouTube and stuff, because when we normally like read those comments that we get, like we'll acknowledge them. So it's like,
yeah, we don't get that
part of it's like part of being like an internet community, you know, like
right.
If you guys want to weigh in on like the Ahmaud Arbery case, like what you think is going on with it, just comment on our Facebook or YouTube or something.
No, exactly. Exactly. Did you see, speaking of internet drama shit, did you see, you know that podcast Call Her Daddy?
No.
Call Her Daddy. It's on Barstool runs it.
Okay.
So it's these 2 girls that start a podcast, and they're like Barstool's #1 show. So they had signed on for a 3-year contract. And about a year and a half into the contract, I think it was like to do a weekly show, and they're doing it, and it was the #1 show on Barstool. And about a year and a half into the contract, like beginning of April, they just stopped doing the show. And everyone's like, what the fuck happened? Why did they stop? So Dave Portnoy, being the king that he is, since he still owns the intellectual property, goes on a live stream on their show without them on it under their show's name and just trashes them. Because basically what happened was they had signed on for a 3-year contract, and they backed out a year and a half. They're like, we want more money or we're going to walk. And he's basically like, you signed a contract. We're going to sue the shit out of you if you walk. Like you gave us the intellectual property for the name. You signed the contract. You even had a lawyer. Like we're going to sue you. And so now, so it was the #1 podcast episode of the week.
That's kind of dumb for them, dude. It's like they probably like, look at us. We do ours indie. We don't have a podcast affiliate or anything.
Be real though, if Barstool offered us a half $500,000, we'd take it.
Hell yeah! And I'm not saying we wouldn't. I'm saying they're foolish for throwing that all down the drain, man. Like, what were they?
And the way the contract was written was they had the intellectual property, and Portnoy even offered them. He was like, okay, look, like, come to the table, because they apparently lose $100,000 every week that these girls don't go on because the show's that popular.
Yeah.
He was like, Barstool does. He was like, look, come back on, finish out your contract. We're going to sell your merch and shit to make up for the lost revenue. and then we'll pay you, like, we'll go back to paying the normal
That's how contracts where you just renegotiate contracts once they're up. Like people do it in the fucking sports all the time.
Once the contract's up, we will give you the intellectual property. You can have the show name. The only thing we want is 90% of the sales, because I guess they have their own brand of alcohol. That's all we want. You can have the merch. You can have the show name, all the slogans, the memes. Everything is yours. And then the two girls got in a fight that were like co-hosts of the show, and they didn't want to. And Portnoy offered the one girl $500,000 and a show on Barstool, a weekly show on Barstool.
One of the girls?
One of them. $500,000 a year.
Sheesh,
and a weekly show on Barstool, and she said no. I'm like, okay, you pissed your own, like, that's your own fault. I have no sympathy.
Yeah. Dude, $500,000 a year is enough money for me to be happy, dude. Like,
absolutely.
Just from that too. Like, that's not even considering like anything else that you do on your own that's not connected to that project.
Right.
Like, God, that's so foolish, man. Was there some fucking drunk relative of theirs or something hyping them up?
No,
being like, so fuck them, dude. You should be doing it yourself.
One of them started dating this guy from HBO that like has a rivalry with Portnoy and Barstool.
Really?
And he was like, he's like got these like cease and desist letters written up, which it doesn't matter. You sign a contract for 3 years, and Barstool's worth $500 million. They've got they've got way better lawyers than you that are looking over these contracts to make sure they're fucking pristine. Like, you sign the contract.
They were halfway through a 3-year contract, man. Like,
you're halfway. You're making. The one was making like 450, and the other was making like 390 because one of them did all the editing and shit. So,
that's so much. Oh my god, dude!
And they walked away from it. So it's like, dude, play out your 3-year contract. It's not like you're a fucking NFL, because that's what he even said. He's like, you can't sign a fucking 3-year contract with the Red Sox, play out of your mind until the All-Star break, and be like, hey, I think I'm going to the Yankees now. Like, no, you got to play out your contract.
That's how you end up like Antonio Brown, dude.
Yeah.
Just not playing anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what's going to happen, is they're going to spoil, because like, I'm sure they've got enough of a brand, and they'll probably still take a hit, but they can go out and start their own shit. Not under that name, though.
They're going to set themselves back 3-4 years, man. Mm-hmm. Like, it's going to take people along, because, like, Barstool's huge, dude. Those girls, they wouldn't be probably not as popular as they would, at least as fast as they would if it weren't for them. And it sounds to me like the Dave Portnoy's organization was being very, like, being fair about it.
This is his spin of it, but at the end of the day, they signed a contract.
He's just stating numbers.
Yeah.
He's not stating like specific action. Oh, he kind of is, but he's like, what I'm concerned about is the numbers that he's stating. It's like,
dude, they haven't disputed it.
Yeah, there a year and a half is left. Like, just renegotiate your contract.
That's not that long. I would like, even if you're that unhappy, their show was 1 hour a week. Mm-hmm. 1 hour. Now consider, 2-3 more hours of editing. You are working a grand total of 4 hours a week to make $450,000 a year. Shut the fuck up, write out your contract, and then worry about
even if it required a full 48 hours a week. If you have 50, dude,
right,
for them to do that, dude, they're making more money than doctors.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they don't have to worry about nicking somebody's intestine when they're doing surgery and losing their job. You know,
they go on and talk about guys they fucked.
Yeah,
that's it. That's all they do.
Sheesh,
and you got and that's the thing, is it's like Barstool makes because we make all our own merch. Mm-hmm. We do all our own editing. I think the one girl helped a little bit in the editing, but Barstool has professional editors. Barstool supplies all the equipment. You're not paying out of pocket for that. So you've got, the $500 Shure mics and shit like that, and the expensive Audio-Technica headphones and all that shit. So it's like, why just shut up and play out your contract?
Yeah. Don't even mention the contract thing until it's up. And if you want to play like one of these sports superstars that wants more money out of it and everything and wants to go public about the contract negotiations or whatever, do it. But don't break the legal contract about it, especially when it's such a lucrative deal.
And especially when it's someone who's worth about 1,000 times as much as you, that could own you if he sued you.
I really would like to. I want them to come out and be public about what's going through their heads on there, because it's like, Dude, okay, if you guys are that big, yeah, just finish out the year and a half.
Right. That's
Like,
exactly, yeah. And they were getting
I've
like 50% of their merch sales and stuff like that. Yeah.
that doesn't sound slave driving at all. Like,
No. Yeah,
it's
that's what
crazy.
they're because they call themselves, it's Call Her Daddy, so they call themselves like the fathers or something like that. So they had a hashtag going free the fathers. And like you're really comparing yourself to slave labor because you have to pay out a $1.5 million or play out a $1.5 million contract. Oh, you poor thing.
Yeah,
like,
dude,
I know you live in New York and that's like making $15 an hour there.
not even, man. Like, don't they live in Massachusetts? I thought they were
Those girls, I don't know. I don't listen to their show. It's a chick show. I don't have any interest in it.
Yeah.
But that's
still though, dude, that's sheesh, man.
That's
we do this for significantly less than that.
Dude, I remember Derek Pavelka one time asked me, he was like, so how much do you make podcasting? I'm like, not that much. And he's like, well, could you pay your rent if you quit your job? And I was like,
no.
I could pay my rent if no, I couldn't pay my rent anywhere.
It's not, well, like, honestly, I would do this if it could pay rent.
Yeah.
Even if it could just like barely pay rent, I would do this because this is like a passion project. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
they say you're supposed to quit your job for your passion when you can pay all of your bills, including groceries. That's when you're supposed to do it. Until then, don't even fucking think about it.
Exactly. We do this strictly as passion right now. And our thought process is like, dude, it took Joe Rogan like years to get to the point where he's at. We've only been doing this a year and a half, and we already have a pretty good audience coming in for only doing this for a year and a half all on our own. Like,
and we don't have the name. We didn't host Fear Factor prior to doing this, you know. And that's my big thing. Is it's like podcasts, especially for comedians, is supposed to be an extension of your brand, not your brand. So like you have people that enjoy you for your comedy, that will also listen to your podcast because you're on it.
I would argue almost any more. Joe Rogan's brand is probably his podcast now. I think his podcast is probably
the exception.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a couple other people like that are maybe could be considered that too. At least like with YouTubers, like I'm
Tim
sure.
Dillon.
The H3H3 guys too. I think their podcast is kind of their brand now.
Is he a comedian though, or is he just a YouTuber?
Well, I mean, he's not like a perform live comedian, I guess. But I mean, the dude's been making videos on YouTube since fucking years ago. So I mean,
speaking of that, can we talk for a minute about how terrible Zoom mics are?
What do you mean? Like,
there people are doing open mics and shows through Zoom.
Oh, yeah.
And it is the worst idea ever. Like, I love you guys. I know a lot of people that are doing it. I love you guys to death. I really do. I don't have any problem with you. You do you, whatever makes you happy. We're all comics, so we're all a little manic depressed. Do whatever keeps you from fucking throwing yourself off a bridge in this time, right? But God, they are a terrible idea.
It sucks, man. I think I can't think of the name of the one Omaha comic that said he's the guy that was like talking about the bit that he thinks it'd be funny if Trump were like there was an attempted assassination on Trump.
Oh, Alex?
Like yeah, Alex
Preston. Yeah.
Alex Preston said he was like he shared a video of him doing like a set, and he's like, before the coronavirus killed comedy. I'm like, dude, that's true. It really did, man, because like live comedy, unless you're like a world famous actor, you're doing shows in front of 20-30 people, and that's like a good turnout, you know what I mean?
Here's my thing though, I don't think it'll kill it for long, because with or without a lockdown, what have we learned about making stuff illegal and all it does is push it underground?
Oh, we're gonna have a little speakeasy comedy shows.
If there's a market for it, which there clearly was, people are gonna start doing underground shows.
Probably.
And that's my thing. And it's like, no, I don't know anyone that's talking about this. This is speculation. But that's what they did back in the day, back in the 1920s during Prohibition. You know, so you knocked on the door, they asked for the code word, you'd say it, and then you'd walk in. And that was how it worked. You'd pay whatever it costs to get in there, and you go drink. They're going to do the same thing.
The code word is orangutan titties.
Orangutan titties.
That's so absurd. You'd only know about it if you were in the know.
That's right. If there's like music shows, that'll be a little bit harder because you won't be able to do that in someone's basement and get away with it. But people are going to find venues and they're going to pack the shit, whether you fucking want to or not, because people are starved for entertainment right now. So
people are bored, man.
Yeah.
Like I was just chilling yesterday watching YouTube because I was just there with my daughter, just sitting there not doing anything, just taking care of her. And I was like, dude, I've like watched everything that I want to watch on YouTube already. I don't know what the fuck to watch now.
Right.
We've been watching through stuff on Netflix and everything, and I'm like, dude, we're gonna run out of stuff to watch if this goes all the way till like October.
There's a really good show on Netflix called Trial by Media.
I've heard of it.
It's about it's a series. It's about how when people are accused of crimes, they have to before they even go to the court or to trial, they have to basically be tried by the public perception and the media. I don't know. I just think it's interesting. There was
we say that a lot around here too, huh?
Trial by media. That's the court of public opinion.
Yeah,
really is. That would honestly be a good idea for someone to do for a podcast. Just call it the court of public opinion, and people who have been accused of shit that they weren't convicted on, with their names tarnished, just talk to them and get their side of the story. I don't know.
It's like the Scarlet Letter, man.
It's
really
that's what you could call it. You could call it the Scarlet Letter. That'd be a good idea.
I'm like, I really wish that I could talk to these people in person. That people that were fucking freaking the hell out about the Supreme Court, the Kavanaugh thing, everything, and now their fucking boy
crickets.
They're crickets about the boy
Joey B.
That's right.
Joe Biden.
And it's like, man, that blew up in their face, huh?
That's my thing. Well, it's Alyssa Milano straight up said she doesn't fucking care. She's like, we got to stop Donald Trump. Did you see the tweets from and I understand these are just morons on the internet, but it was tweets from people that are like, I don't care if Biden rapes 100 women at gunpoint. We need to get Trump out. I'm like, what a ridiculous statement.
That right there is why Trump's going to re-win the election.
What a ridiculous thing to say. I don't care if he rapes 100 different women at gunpoint. Are you kidding me?
Oh my God, dude. That's an actual opinion. It's
right.
Funny.
Yeah.
That's why anytime when I'd be walking down through University of Nebraska's fucking campus and everything, and I'd see the signs up about, they'd be like, believe all women and stuff like that. I'd look at it
unless they accuse a Democrat.
Yeah, unless they accused a guy running against Trump, right?
That's right. That's right. Did you see because Justin Amash was originally going to run as the Libertarian candidate, but he dropped out?
Why?
Probably because he realized there's no feasible way a third party can do anything in the current climate.
No.
I mean, you got to have boots on the ground if you're going to run a third party, and you can't. How are you going to do rallies if you're social distancing?
I still think third party should be focused on winning chair seats and stuff more than running for president.
County insurance commissioner. That's what they should be aiming for.
Local judges.
Yeah. Local, city council even. If you want to shoot big. Well, here in Omaha, we have a unique opportunity because the whole two-party system is really based on tribalism. You can go around and knock on every single door in the city, right? And you can tell people, you can get out your idea, and you can have over half the city be like, yeah, I agree with you. Better than the other two candidates. They're still going to check the R or the D when they get to the election, but when it gets to election day. And it's a weird psychological thing.
And what's funny about Omaha, too, is I'd say fucking most of the people in Omaha are really moderate, man. There's not a whole lot of political extremism going on in Omaha, Nebraska.
Well, Omaha, our city council, mayoral, and I guess Nebraska as a whole, the legislature, it's nonpartisan, which helps a third-party candidate if they can get the funding behind them, because people actually have to think. They can't just go, R, that's the one, D, that's the one. They have to actually think about it. So, you don't get as many uninformed votes, I don't think.
Nebraska's weird too, man, because you have a lot of different opinions you have to consider. I guess any state's like it, because every state really has rural and urban areas and everything. It's but Nebraska, dude, all the population is in Omaha, and then everybody in Lincoln. Yeah, and Lincoln's really just a big little city. You know what I mean? Everything outside of the fucking 98% of the state area-wise is rural, just nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's farms and stuff. So it's
And that's the thing, though, is I feel like a lot of farmers, if libertarian candidates would talk to them, they would have a better, because I mean, obviously they're pro-gun out there, right? They want to be left alone by the government. That's why they live out in the middle of nowhere. But those farmers, the one thing they really, really want is hemp, because it's something they can grow year round and make a lot of money off of. It's cheap.
Well, there's a lot of really complicated issues that pertain to agriculture that I don't know shit about, dude.
Right.
Like just what you do with like crops and stuff like that, or like yield percentages, and like I don't know shit about that, man.
Right.
And like you expect like even our homeboy on the bakery that was on the show that won the Democratic nomination, man. Like,
or not Baker, Janicek.
Janet, how much does he know about stuff that pertains to farmers? You know what I mean?
Here's my thing with Chris. Chris is a good guy. He's a nice guy. I do think he has good intentions. Some of the people around him, we can discuss that off camera. But he's a sacrificial lamb. He doesn't stand a fucking chance against Sass, even after that cringe-worthy fucking commencement speech. He's a sacrificial lamb. He's going to get beat 80-20, 70-30. Good guy. Kind of hope he wins just to shake things up. Not going to win.
He should next time he should run against Stothert, dude.
Oh God.
He should run for mayor. I think
she's up next year.
Yeah, I think somebody like Janicek's ideas would probably pertain better to like a mayoral spot, because it's like you're really only just managing Omaha.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like you're not dealing with issues that pertain to way out in the middle of nowhere. You're not, you know what I mean? Like you're not pertaining issues that pertain to Louisville, Nebraska.
Yeah. Which are Chadron.
Yeah. Like stuff that happens out there has nothing to do with Omaha.
That's why it's hard to win, because in Omaha, or being from Omaha, winning a statewide race, because most of us are ignorant about what goes on out there, you know? And that's the thing, is that you talk to people from Omaha, we don't know jack shit. Omaha and Lincoln, we don't know jack shit about the other towns in this state.
I don't know jack shit in general. So I mean,
but if you go and talk to a kid from McCook, he knows about what's going on in Chadron, about what's going on in Alliance, O'Neill, Valentine, Omaha, Lincoln, Plattsmouth. He knows about all of it because they don't have everything right here. They rely on other parts of the state to get them stuff here. To get them stuff. So that's why people from mid and western Nebraska make better, statewide candidates, or they're billionaires like Pete Ricketts.
It's like you see people in Omaha that just have such strong opinions about like state matters and stuff, and I'm like, dude, point to where Ogallala is in your own state, and like if you can't even do that, which a lot of people can't. And this could go to any state. It's like, how, like, you're a voter, dude.
Right.
Like, that's why when they set up the voting system, like when the founding fathers set up this political system, they stress the importance of having a well-informed public, because how can a not well-informed public govern themselves if they're fucking idiots? Like,
and that's the problem, is so many idiots have a vote. You know what
I say idiots, but it's like I could point it, like, that's a really general term, but I could point it to like specifics, right? People that can't point to like parts of the state, you know what I mean? Like people that don't even know who their own governor is.
Their congressman.
Yeah. People that don't know the difference between a congressman and a senator.
People who are mad that Pete Ricketts won't enact the fascist government they've been screaming about for the last 4 years.
Yeah. I'm just like, how, like, it's just, I hear a lot of people like say they don't care about that kind of stuff, but then I'm like, well, if you don't care about that kind of stuff, then why do you have such strong opinions about how like you should govern yourself? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just like, it's frustrating. It frustrates me.
No, that's exactly it. And that's like, because Texas, you guys obviously you have a big problem with people from California coming and voting. They're coming to escape the bullshit in California and voting the same bullshit in Texas.
Dude, Elon Musk is moving everything.
Texas or Nevada.
Yeah, they're moving out, and
Tax
I
havens.
heard. Yeah, I'm already heard he's moving to Texas. He's looking more towards
Houston's mayor wanted him. Yeah, they said it's 50-50.
Dude, California better watch out, man. They're already in the red. If they get more companies like that moving out, oh man, California is fucking screwed, dude.
Yeah. Well, that's because the mayor of LA said that he wants to keep them locked down until there's a cure. That's my thing. I love how the goalposts have moved here, because at first it was we need to lock everything down until we flatten the curve. We don't want to stress the hospitals too much, so we did that. The hospitals didn't fall. I mean, there was New York, but people live on top of each other like rats in New York. That's a problem that they have to deal with, address themselves, and that's addressing itself.
Having everything close to, like, the way New York City is set up isn't only problems. You know what I mean? Like, a cool thing about living in New York City the way it is you can live and only use public transport there.
You can walk everywhere.
You can walk. You don't need to own a car. That cuts fucking $500 a month out of your monthly spending.
Gas, insurance, car payment.
That's
repairs.
Cool, man. There's a grocery store a block down.
Right, definitely.
Go buy groceries from, dude. You don't need a car there. That's fucking cool. Honestly, if I could live and not need a car, I would do it.
Right.
But the nearest grocery store to most people in like modern urban, like metropolitan areas is like 1.5 miles, 2 miles away.
See, I like having a car. There's a sense of freedom to it.
There is, but like I didn't own a car when I was for my first 1.5, 2 years of being in the Army.
Yeah.
And honestly, it was pretty cool, dude. Like, I would just walk everywhere.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, it was kind of cool to like, you'd have a lot of self-reflection time of just walking. It's almost like meditative, where you're like, fuck, I gotta go walk to go buy a 6-pack of beer, buy a gallon of milk. I used
to do that as a kid too, so I get it. Right.
Yeah.
I caught up on Tupac's greatest hits that way.
Yeah.
But no, that's like, so they have a problem with people coming and voting there from California. But here's my thing. Somebody from LA should not be able to move to Houston, change their residency, and then in the next month vote to raise people who have been living in Houston for 20 years taxes.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy that they can do that. Like, you're going to move to this new state, and then you're going to start having a say in matters of that state. But like, even in that city, like, you don't know all the ins and outs of that city, even after 5 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
it's like that episode of SpongeBob where Squidward gets fired and moves in with SpongeBob. And he just starts pushing him around. It's the same thing. You left because you're in a shitty situation. We took you in, and here you are fucking, ruining shit. So it's like, honestly, I don't think you should be able to vote in a state or local election when you move to a new state for 4 years.
It's crazy, man. We're talking about all the same negative points here at democracy that, like, the communists over in China are like, say is the problem with the West. You know what I mean?
Well, their problem is they kill whistleblowers. So
yeah, exactly.
Human rights violations. I mean, my problem is that, the tax on my gasoline went from 7 to 8 cents. Theirs is, hey, that guy talked shit. Let's go blow his head off. That's so I'll still take these problems.
My whole thing is like, dude, you can think any way that you want to. I just really hope that you're like, there's like a well-informed base behind, like, underneath, like, supporting that opinion, because it's like, I could think, man, I don't want there to ever be billionaires ever. You know what I mean? You could talk to some guy who heard that at the bus stop, and he just repeats it on the Facebook, because he's heard his friends talking about it. Or you could like talk to a dude
and actually look like an idiot.
Yeah, exactly. You could talk to guys that will like very intelligently defend that opinion too. You know what I mean?
My favorite people, though, on that subject are the people that equate net worth with, like, how much someone has in their savings account.
Yeah, really.
They're like, oh, so-and-so donated $10 million. That's only 0.01% of his net worth. I'm like, okay, so first off, how much did you donate?
Mm-hmm.
Second off, net worth is not how much money you have. Net worth, a lot of the times, is people who own companies. They own shares in these companies. So if they were to dump half their net worth, thousands of people are now out of a job.
Yeah, they're people that just don't have a basic understanding of how wealth works,
right? Because
they don't understand like the difference between like liquid assets and regular assets,
right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like when you ask, a homeboy at fucking school, or like a guy you work with, that's like, hey man, we should fucking have this percentile, like a tax system that taxes way more to like these wealthy people. And it's like, Okay, man. So let's like talk about your understanding of how wealth actually works, though.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like,
That's
and then they say like it's unfair, and then it's like, I mean, do you think there's just like Scrooge McDuck, like they have a
right. They bathe
full
in
of
money.
coins?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's I would even guys like Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, I don't think those guys have $1 billion in the bank.
Bezos
Maybe
might.
Bezos
Jeff
might,
Bezos might.
but
Yeah.
everything. I mean, they own companies, they own properties, they
I
own stocks.
I butt heads with my dad a lot about Bezos and Amazon all the time because like he'll always like use Bezos as a shining example of like how capitalism is fucking great, and I'm like, dude, Dad, you know, like basically made all that money off slave labor, right?
I
Like
mean,
modern
Bezos
slavery.
he's a dirtbag. There's
Yeah,
that for sure. But I think there does need nuance. I don't think he's definitely made people's lives easier.
yeah. It's
The
just like,
fact that I can press a button on a computer and have everything sent to my home has improved my life. I won't lie.
yeah. You know, you could have probably said that back in the 1800s, though, about like, yeah, the fact that I can just buy cheap clothing now because all this cotton is coming for so cheap and easy. You know what I mean? It's like, well, what's it on the backs of? Like,
Yeah. But Bezos's employees can always quit.
yeah, well, I don't know if if you are taking a bunch of people from Ecuador.
Is he doing that?
Well, yeah, they take a ton
Nike's
of
doing the
migrant.
same shit.
Yeah, they take a ton of migrant labor, and then they basically force them into like they don't force them, but they don't like there's no way that they would be able to survive in the United States without working there, and even then they like. You know what I mean? If you're making fucking $4 an hour and actively encouraged to not unionize, there's probably an issue.
That's every meat packing plant in the country too.
Yeah,
though.
absolutely. You know? Dude, my uncle manages a meat packing plant. I know.
I live right up the street from QPI. You know,
it's Fremont's really big. That's like the entire basis of like Fremont, Nebraska's economy.
Grand Island too.
They have a huge Tyson plant in Fremont, and that's like, dude, like that's why you see so many El Salvadorians and Mexicans living in Fremont.
Yeah, because, same with Grand Island.
Yeah,
and that's part of why Grand Island has it so bad, as they have so many plants there, and it's just running through them. You know.
That's why in Nebraska and like places that have a lot of those, like the disease really is like disproportionately affecting Latinos because you get first generation Latinos that they basically can bring in easily, and then they target them to work for $4 an hour in this factory. Like, and I don't know if you've ever seen people that work in meatpacking plants, dude. They look fucking rough.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And that's why everyone's criticizing it. What I don't get about people criticizing them for wanting to go back to work, it's like, not everyone can be a fucking vlogger for a living. Sometimes, and that's not taking shots at these people. Sometimes, for whatever circumstance, whether it's their own fault or not, that's all that person can do is work in a meatpacking plant.
Those people aren't citizens, man. They're not going to get the stimulus checks.
No, they don't get stimulus checks, and they're getting exposed to it the worst. And that's another thing. I mean, we both know this from one experience or another. Hispanic families often live 2 or 3 generations in the same home. So
shit, I live 4 generations in the same home, man.
So where you've got, the average nuclear family's 4 people, you've got 9, 10, 11, 12 people in the same house. So that's why you've got the coronavirus going through. That's just demographically speaking, that's just how it works. It's a different culture. It's not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's why it's impacting them at higher rates.
That's why I'm so like, I can sympathize with the people that are like really scared about the disease and like are wanting states to take more aggressive measures to stop the spread, because it's like, honestly, you're never going to stop it. No, but they just want to slow it down till enough so we don't have 1 million people that die from it.
But they have moved the goalposts, though. They said we just flattened the curve. We don't want it to overwhelm the hospitals. It didn't overwhelm the hospitals. We talked about with the exception of New York. And now they're saying, oh, no. We need to find a cure. There was never a guarantee of a cure. There's no cure for cancer. There's no cure for AIDS. There's no cure for the common cold. Even the flu. You can get a vaccine, but it seems like every couple of years that vaccine is the wrong strain, and it doesn't do dick because there's a new strain every year.
Well, they just wanted to be able to develop the vaccine, I think. Like that, they just want to slow it down as much as they can So, like, how many
I
deaths
won't
have we
take
had
a
in the
vaccine.
Well, how many deaths have we had in the United States
It was
right
like
now?
90,000.
90,000.
Supposedly.
Well, 90, 80,000 is a lot better than 500.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if we weren't taking any steps towards it, and like, I live in a house where there's like a couple people that are like really vulnerable to it.
Yeah.
And it's like the kind of people that are like, don't think that companies and states should pass like the mask laws. Well, it's like, well, do you want to open your, like, what, I want to hear your opinion about this. What do you think it should be allowed that if somebody gets, like, gives the disease to somebody and they weren't taking protective measures, do you think they should be able to be sued?
No, I think that's
medical?
I think that's a slippery slope. I think most of us, anyone who's lived more than 25 years, has probably killed somebody by indirectly exposing them to the flu or other viruses that they were asymptomatic for at the time. So I think that's an extremely slippery slope. How do you prove that? First off, I mean, how do you prove that's where it came from? You just can't. That's kind of like pissing yourself in black pants. It makes you feel warm inside, but nobody actually notices.
It kind of sucks, though, when you get all these people that are like against people like taking against like cities taking protective measures steps in the time, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, well, like, there's no reprimand, there's nothing that's stopping them from giving a shit about them killing my mother-in-law, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
and I think
so it just sucks. It sucks when it's like people are saying that opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, well, like, you actually can physically, like, not even indirectly, like, you could give the disease to me, and then, you know what I mean? Like, and
that's
just for you not wearing a mask.
The
like,
protective measures and stuff, it's like, because here's the thing, we can't just live in fear,
Yeah.
We can't, because we have to have some risk. We take a risk every situation. Time we go to work. You could die in a car accident just going to work.
It's true.
Like, that's my thing, is it's like, and not even by your own fault. What if you got some old person that just fucking forgets how to drive and blacks out and kills you? You have no way to control it. What if a semi-truck, the brakes go out? You have no way to control that.
The one thing about that, though, is the semi-truck's brakes go out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it kills your dad.
Right.
You have legal protection against that. That company is probably going to pay all the funeral expenses and probably give you a nice little chunk of money for it. Like, it can't bring your dad back.
But that's more of a direct. That's directly someone's fault. Whereas you really don't have a way to trace what somebody.
If you're not wearing a mask, like going to the grocery store, you know what I mean? Like, look at that one bitch in California that was like at that one small grocery store over there in California that was like harassing the employee for not letting her go into the store without the mask on. And it's like, that city doesn't have a directive. It was a company policy. Like, you can't shop here unless you got a mask on. And then she like recorded it and then like got the manager involved and lied and said you saw that. It's
my
like,
thing. I have no problem if a company says you have to wear a mask to shop here. I don't like mask laws. I don't think it's necessary to mandate people wear masks, especially but as a big, because I mean, I can't fucking see when I wear a mask. It fogs my glasses up. I know someone who, I'm not going to name them, even though they've been vocal about it themselves. That's their thing. Who is a sexual assault survivor that doesn't want something covering her mouth. Like, I think that's a blanket statement, and I think it really is just the government just wanting to push people around. I really do think civil liberties they fucking listen to all of our phone calls. We get our dicks grabbed at the airport because of 9/11. This is just health 9/11. This is another reason for them to control us. And what scares me is every time there's a bad flu now, they're going to go, oh, time to lock back down. Because I know there's a lot of people that would, small business owners, that if it came down to it, they'd rather die of corona than ruin their fucking life's work. You know what I mean? Like, I
do really sympathize when people are like talking about like the business owners, when they're like that one guy that was like was he in Florida that was like trying to deliver like trading cards to people and he got arrested for it.
Yeah.
Like that kind of shit. I'm like, that's too far, man. But
and then there was, I want to say she was in Grand Island or Fremont, one of the two. It was a woman. She had to sit through another round of chemotherapy rather than have the tumor on her liver removed. Because that was an elective surgery. Because technically, You don't have to get that removed. They can put you through another round of chemo and see if it works, even though they can go in and just remove it. And chemo's brutal. I don't know if anyone everyone at this point knows someone who's been through chemo. It's not a easy thing for anyone involved to go through.
Hell no, it's not.
And you've got people that aren't getting organ transplants because they're elective. You have people that aren't getting screened for HIV, for cancer, you name it, because it's elective. You don't have to go get screened. You're not going to die right now.
Remember MSNBC, man. Think of the transsexuals people because they're not able to get their gender reassignment surgeries. Think of them. They're the ones that are suffering the most.
The most important. How could I forget? How could I forget?
I still I couldn't believe what I was listening to, dude. I'm like clearly everybody is sucking from this, but they had to go out of their way to be like, please think about the transsexual
trans folks.
Think about the trans folks who aren't able to get their gender reassignment surgeries. Dude,
my favorite. Have you seen the new Chappelle stand-up special yet?
I've seen one of them.
The new one from last year.
No, I saw the one. Well, didn't he release like 2 in the year?
No, he did 2 in 2018.
Okay, so yeah, I did.
Sticks and Stones, where he's like in the military fatigues.
I keep wanting to listen to Sticks and Stones, but my wife doesn't want to listen to it
because his wife's Chinese, right?
Yeah.
So he gets.
No, I thought his wife was Filipino.
Or Asian. But he's talking about transgenders, and he's like, it's a hilarious predicament. You'd laugh if it happened to me. Imagine if I was Chinese but stuck in this black man. He didn't say black man, but I'm not YouTube body. Yeah. He's like, and everywhere I go, I had to walk around making that face. And he squints his eyes and he goes, "Hey, everybody, I'm Chinese." He's like, and then he's like, "What are you doing? Stop making that face. That's offensive." And he goes, "What? This is how I feel inside."
That's fucking hilarious, dude.
Dead, man. That was hilarious.
That's some shit only Trump could say now, dude.
Oh, or Chappelle.
Trump. Yeah, Chappelle. Sorry.
Chappelle gets a pass because this is my thing. You can be more offensive as a black comedian.
Probably.
If a white comedian had said what Tracy Morgan said about gay people, or Eddie Murphy, they wouldn't have a career.
I don't know. Bill Burr could say some shit like that.
Does he? I don't know if Burr's
Bill
really
Burr
touched on...
he's touched on race stuff, especially in his earlier stuff. Some Daniel Tosh could say that shit. You know what I mean?
Daniel Tosh is Teflon, but Daniel Tosh is an equal opportunity offender.
Even somebody like Rogan could probably say that shit. You know what I mean? Like, so, I don't know if it's necessarily a race thing. I think it's just more of what you built your brand up as. Yeah. I think, and it does have to do with like how famous of a comedian you are versus.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's my thing with Chappelle.
If people like you, they're more likely to hear you say some dumb shit than if they don't like you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, let me see if I can find what Tracy Morgan said, because it wasn't really even like a joke. He said that if his son was gay, he better come home and talk to him like a man and not he mimicked the gay high-pitched voice, or he would pull out a knife and stab the little N-word to death. Tracy then said he didn't fucking care if he pissed off some gays, because if they can take a fucking dick up their ass, they can take a fucking joke.
Sheesh.
That's not really even a joke, though. That's
like, man.
That's hate basically gay people. If my son was gay, I would kill him. Like,
what's the punchline to that? I would stab my fucking son if he was gay, dude.
That's not a punchline. And I'm not here to critique comedy and attack it. Of course, he has the right to say it. Anybody can say whatever they want. I just don't like it's not funny.
It goes like if you talk to comedians about like most comedians will be like, man, you can make a race joke. It's just got to be funny, man. Right. Like you can't just be like attacking people.
Will say that.
Yeah, like
if you walk up and you're like, I hate black people.
Remember when I made my joke about like Jesus not like people talking about Jesus being black, and then I made like an actual joke about like why Jesus isn't black. Like, that's just funny.
Right.
I'm not out there going like, "He's not black," we're fucking just spewing out that
right.
words.
You know who gets most offended by that though is white women.
Yeah, well, fuck them. Those people aren't really that good in the comedy scene. So.
No, offended on other people's behalves. I will never forget the day that I was making a joke about my girlfriend's epilepsy. Her epilepsy, and I don't even make fun of her Mexicanity. I just make a reference to it. But this is her Mexicanity. But this woman in the crowd, this white woman, got offended and like said something to me after the show. I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me? She's in the crowd laughing at it, and you got offended by her behalf. Dude, my favorite audience members. Remember we did that garage show? The two black lesbians in the front row laughed at every fucking joke I had.
Yeah,
two favorite audience members. The only person that got offended was a white woman on their behalf.
Like, who's probably dating a black guy. That we came to the fucking conclusion about that. Oh man. I was gonna say, like if I really, because I'm not quite as edgy, as that when I was like not really right now because I got the kid, but
right.
I didn't really have a whole lot of people come up and tell me or anything that like hey man, that joke was like in poor taste or anything. Like I always just had in my mind, if somebody did that, I'd be like, your opinion is appreciated, but I wouldn't stop telling the joke, dude. I'd just be like, I don't fucking care. I'm gonna keep telling the joke as long as it's getting laughs.
There's always, as long as it's getting laughs. I don't really care if one or two people think it's poor taste. In fact, I kind of hope that, you know. Yeah. But like, as long as it's getting laughs, there is a thing about having closure to a joke. Like you do it at like 4 or 5 mics, and it just dies every time. It's like, okay, time to put that one to bed. Like, like I had one about a cop that got arrested for filming sex videos with children and dogs. It actually happened. I'm like, half the population immediately looks at that headline and goes, well, Caleb, those kids just should have complied. Which I thought was a creative joke. It has never been successful. It has never landed. Maybe it's been the wrong audience. And then I follow it up with, hey, man, fucking our dogs is a step up from shooting them at least. So, but
I think comedy is one of those things that the success of itself speaks for itself. You know, if it's getting laughs, it's getting laughs. If it's not, then I mean,
exactly.
There you go.
Sometimes I write shit that I think is hilarious, and I can't figure out why people like it. Then I'll throw out a joke that was like, I'm just trying to get rid of that. It popped in my head, and people love it. And like, I don't know how this shit works.
I would say it's kind of like running a restaurant, whereas like, if the food is good, like people are gonna like it, you know what I mean? Right. There might be the 1 or 2 people that don't like the bacon cooked that way.
Right.
But if it's good, it's good, and you're gonna be successful. But then you got like fucking Denny's that's successful somehow. So I mean, like,
exactly.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, you've got 5-star restaurants that just fail, and then for some reason, IHOP is a multi-million-dollar company.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. No. I totally understand that reference.
Well, I mean, I guess that you see some comedians out there that really aren't that funny that get propped up because they've got buddies.
Amy Schumer.
Yeah, right. In Amy Schumer's defense, I've seen some of her older stuff, like pre-2000s. Yeah, well, like pre-2000s stuff. Like back then, dude, the world, like it was before the internet.
Right.
So you didn't have all these people that were just like being offended on other people's behalfs.
Yeah.
Just as much, right? So like people were funny back then, man. Like you can watch some of her old stuff, like back when she was on like VH1, as you know, when they would do like the I Love the 80s and stuff.
Yeah.
And they would bring comedians on there to talk about it. And like she was funny. She was one of the funny people.
Right.
Yeah, she's one of the funny people on there. But then you've unfortunately just got the internet where like all of your thoughts are on display, and you have to basically show that you're one of the woke folk.
It's that, and the joke stealing really did her in. Mm-hmm. Same with Carlos Mencia.
Well, I feel like people just didn't like Amy Schumer because of the fact that she was one of those, just another fucking face in the woke crowd.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then like the whole jokes didn't come, and that's why everybody was like just.
That was the nail. That was the nail. Carlos Mencia didn't catch it near as bad as Amy Schumer did, though.
Yeah, because people, I mean, like at the end of the day, people like Carlos Mencia was like a good joke teller. He just would steal jokes. You know what I mean?
Fun fact: you know who he got busted for stealing from was Ari Shaffir.
Yeah, cause he got busted by Joe Rogan.
Yeah, it was that one about the wall.
George Lopez did it too. I remember seeing a show that George Lopez went up on stage and like called him out about stealing jokes. I think from him. Yeah, I think he was stealing jokes from George Lopez.
Yeah. Well, that was because Joe Rogan got banned from the Comedy Store after that happened. Mm-hmm. And then Carlos Mencia came, Carlos Mencia's defense for stealing Ari Shaffir's joke didn't deny that he stole it, but said, because it was a joke about the wall or whatever, and in immigration, and he said that a Jewish man couldn't tell that joke because he just doesn't get it. I'm like, no. Like that's my thing, man. Jews and Native Americans kind of hands off. Like you can't say, oh, you can't say that, you're Jewish. Like those are two people that were genocided or came very close to being genocided. Just let them do their thing.
My thing is like if you look in it really in any point in history, you could find at a time like any group of people being persecuted by another group of people, man.
According to Cenk, though, not the Armenians.
Yeah, not the Armenians.
It never happened.
Never happened, right? I mean, like, look, even Armenians, dude. Like, Armenians, Serbs, Croats, and all them fucks are always like fucking killing each other over there in that part of the world. Like,
definitely. The bad one though, and y'all can Google this because we got to get wrapping this up pretty soon here. Is over in Burma.
Oh yeah, that's with the
Karen people.
Karen people, yeah.
That's bad.
So,
that's really bad.
Yeah, look at like with China right now. Like they are like killing like the West Chinese like Muslim populations. They're just like straight up at concentration camping them.
Yep.
My favorite China, though. My favorite thing was like back in the day when like George Takei was like calling Trump the worst president ever, and there's like FDR literally put you in a camp,
right?
And you're like Trump's the worst president ever, dude. Like,
George Takei is a fucking Democratic establishment shill.
Yeah,
you know
that's why nobody takes his opinion serious anymore.
Democratic Candace Owens, basically.
Yeah,
who's also a meme and a complete idiot.
Dude, the whole 20s, and it'll be interesting to see this year when the stuff is really kicking off thick, if it even does, because of the coronavirus thing. But like, how many people like just lost their voice on the internet because of the 2016 election, dude? Because of how fucking dumb they were being.
Cenk,
yeah, dude, the Young Turks got ruined by that, dude. The Young Turks is nothing now.
Dude, the Young Turks' rock bottom was when Alex Jones stormed their live set. And it's Alex Jones. He's a fucking troll. And Cenk took the bait and like got up and face turned all red and he's screaming at him. That was their downfall.
Dude, Vice News is nothing anymore.
Oh, they're a meme.
Nobody takes any of them serious. HuffPost. Nobody takes those serious anymore. Like
The Sun. Gawker. No, Hulk Hogan killed Gawker.
Yeah.
BuzzFeed's another one that's really bad. BuzzFeed's cool because they do like BuzzFeed Unsolved. You know, where it's like
I don't know. BuzzFeed still does a lot of those clickbaity like list articles and stuff.
Yeah. They have a cool YouTube series though. It's called BuzzFeed Unsolved, where they'll talk about like cold case files and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which, if you're looking for something creative and original to do during the quarantine, start a true crime podcast.
Oh yeah,
no one has ever done that before.
And do your makeup on it while you do it, dude.
Yep, do a makeup YouTube channel
while you talk about true crime, dude.
Makeup true crime. Yep.
Do it while you're mukbanging. Actually,
yes.
Do it while you eat food. Nobody's ever done that before.
Play Fortnite.
Yeah. Play Fortnite, do your makeup, eat food, and also
talk true crime.
Talk true crime all at once. Dude.
Never been done before.
Never been done.
None of those things. No one's ever done any of them.
I don't wonder if there's anybody out there that's done all of that stuff.
I think I'm going to do it now just to do it. We're going to do all four at the same time.
Mukbang, play Fortnite, and then talk about true crime all at the same time, dude.
I don't think I have Fortnite.
Free game.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, you'd be good. It's free game.
Oh, okay. I'll figure it out. Live stream, Bread Circuses Facebook page this Saturday. Doing the fucking
this Saturday ass show at the fucking.
We're talking. We're talking true crime.
Live, talking true crime live. You're gonna watch me eat 3 whole large pizzas live and talk true crime.
I have irritable bowel syndrome. I will not be eating 3 pizzas.
Eat 3 whole heads of lettuce. IBS mukbang, yeah.
That's right, IBS mukbang. Yep.
Live in theater.
Oh shit! Should we call it? We've done over an hour.
I think so, man. That's good.
All right, motherfuckers, you know what to do. Follow us on all this shit.
We'll keep you guys updated once we find out what happened with Vermin Supreme, you guys will know.
Yeah, if we find out.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe. And, the Armenian genocide, it never happened.
Now somebody's gonna take that quote like 3 years from now, like put it in quotation marks, like Caleb, the Armenian genocide never happened.
I mean, if they can play that voiceover and take me seriously, then I don't want someone that's that fucking retarded listening to my shit. So
yeah, right.
That's all I've got to say on that.
All right, man. I think Peace so. Out. Throw the deuces.
Peace out.
See you guys. We'll see you later.